Crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, treasure looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face.
Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to dispute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest,
I want to know why I should be believing them.
every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody have your right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.
Good to have you join us again. Program is still called Digest Extra, and we're going to be looking at widowhood in Nigeria, misconception, ordeals, and victory. Now, just before I introduce my guest on this particular segment, I'd just like to take you through some of the things I have here, just to actually serve as a background to the discussion we'll be having. And of course, widowhood, you want to know what widowhood means. Simply a state or period when when someone becomes a widow or a widower. And now a widow is the woman and the widower is the man who lost a spouse and made a decision not to remarry. Now, in certain parts of Nigeria, the maltreatment of widows is common. In-laws and the community subject them to physical, emotional abuses, such as being made to sit on the floor, being confined from a month to 1 year, having their hair literally scraped off with razors, or broken bottles, not being allowed to bathe, being made to routinely weep in public, being forced to drink the water used to wash their husband's cups, crowned by loss of inheritance rights and eviction. Now, when a woman loses her husband, a civilized society should rarely rally around her to support her and her children. And many have campaigned that causing her more pain than she's already going through at the death of a breadwinner is just plain evil. Now, I actually have some things I digged up, but this is for you to either consider or validate. Some will say that this practice used to be, but in the current day and time, it doesn't exist anymore. But some people will still argue that these things happen in my community. Well, it's for you to decide how true or not true this is. And so I have some examples here. This is from the South Edo State, and I actually discovered that in Benin land, widowhood rights are in 2 stages. Now, first, the widow is confined to a room outside the family house for 7 days immediately after the interment of the deceased husband. She is dressed in black with her hair left unkempt, and she is not allowed to take a bath. She must look mournful and sober and must cry morning and evening. On the 7th day, a wake-up ceremony is held, and the widow is forbidden by custom to sleep, because the spirit of the dead man will come around and kill her if she is found sleeping. On the same day, she performed the semi-purification rites by taking a bath around 4 a.m. at a road junction, all alone, and a safe return proves our innocence. You're wondering who does that? The second stage of mourning now begins at the end of the 7th day. The widow smears herself and her clothing with black charcoal and remains so for 3 months. At the end of the 3rd month, the final purification, which admits her into society, is performed. On inheritance now, both the widow and property are inheritable objects. Now, that's an example from the South, that's Edo State. Now, from Southeast, now example Anambra in Ogidi town in Idemili, LGA. The mourning period is 1 year, during which the time the widow is restricted to the house where she sits on the bare floor for 4 weeks and her hair is scraped. She is not allowed to talk, laugh, shake hands, or greet people, bake or cook. Attire is called ogodo, ukpa, that is moth clothes. After 7 weeks, she removes the mud cloth and wears ikipim, that is a pitch black mourning dress, for the rest of the year. Peculiar to these people is the Utrum Afa, that is praise name, in which the widow performs mandatorily 3 times a day. Now, I'll just round off with an experience in Southwest, now particularly in Ondo State. It said when the husband dies, the widow goes into confinement for 7 days. During this period, she's not allowed to go out even to the toilet or take a bath. On the 7th day, head is shaved to sever the bond between her and the dead husband. She also keeps a vigil and appears very sorrowful by wailing and crying profusely. If she fails to mourn, it is believed that she may become mentally deranged or forfeit the right to any benefits. Now, after this, she goes into mourning proper, which is for a period of 3 months. During mourning, she's to be of impeccable behavior, so that her late husband's spirit may gain quick entry into the community of his ancestral spirits. The widow is not expected to court, leave the family, go away with the children, or look in the mirror for fear of seeing the deceased. Until recently, she was not allowed to sit on the bed. Now, you're wild, right? While even some people argue that some of this practice no longer exists in their areas, some people still go through these very barbaric acts. And the question you want to ask is, why the misconception, why the unnecessary suffering that widows go through when they lose their loved ones, those they hold dear to their heart. And so joining us on the program today is a woman who is doing well in her own right, because of course our NGO is actually standing in the gap for widows who actually are looking for a way to survive even after they've lost the breadwinner. And the name of our NGO is Serendipity House, now which was founded in February as far back as 1996. Now it's a pleasure to introduce to you Yemisi Jayola, the human rights activist. Good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank
Welcome.
you very much.
Yes. Now you heard all of what I read about. From those you interact with, do some women still go through all of these things I read through?
Well, listening to what you read, I feel very bad, and widows still go through those things in places.
Wow.
Different places in Africa. The entire Africa has a way of treating their widows badly. The nation of Nigeria has our own. Reading this, these things are meted on widows by human beings who just woke up one day to form some things to do with women who have lost their husbands. It's not God that formed this, and it's not the dead who said, treat my wife like that. So it's a form of tradition that is, that they want to just, then this signifies immediately that the woman wasn't a part of the man before they got married. A stranger who met their son. So when the man insisted on getting married to the woman, they accepted her. Since he loves her, let's take her. That's marriage. The moment the man dies, the woman goes back to the stranger status she came from. But then, why should somebody your brother, your son loved become somebody who has to go through this? And these are the misconceptions. All the things you read are the ordeals. Ordeals. The misconceptions are she must have had a hand in the death of her husband. She shouldn't see herself like a widow. She shouldn't inherit her husband's house. She shouldn't take the children. We must make her to suffer.
Even when you have no claim or
even if the
evidence.
Even if the woman was the owner of everything, the moment the man dies, she loses her status. And then look at how you read it. We talk about tradition, culture, and all that. What about the church? The church got these two people married, I still insist every time. I was married to a priest. Because he was a priest, we had to follow up people in their marriages till the end of the marriages and continue to stay with them in their widowhood with the children, fatherless children. The church, I think, as the bedrock of godly families or community, should continue their work by still upholding what will make the woman live after the death of her husband. I'm not indicting. I'm just saying the church should continue to hold on to the woman. They shouldn't stop at the dust to dust. If the church comes in immediately after a woman loses her husband, the family will sit back and say, I think we don't have power to do much because the church is still working on this woman, they still do this. The misconceptions again, a widow herself who doesn't have a good standing, doesn't see herself as somebody at times to be respected.
Now, how do you mean good standing?
A good standing, well, my husband used to take care of widows. So I've been empowered by taking care of widows before I became one. I became a widow 8 years ago. We started 20 years ago. So 12 years into our widowhood consultations, I lost my husband. So I was empowered. I knew the things they go through and all that. So when I became a widow, it became something that I really just had to manage. I didn't go into widowhood as somebody who was going to have fear. There was nothing to fear about widowhood. But everybody has his or her own way of, understanding and living with it. A widow loses her status because she saw fear and she saw the problem and immediately she gives in to the problem. They met her there. She's already afraid. They are coming now to do this. That's fearful and pitiful. This problem will always be there. I didn't face that because I wasn't confined to bed, to the floor. I had to sit on the floor sometimes to think, is it really true? The floor is where I belong. So I sat there. Nobody compelled me to sit there. I went to the bathroom, put the shower on, say, God, what is this? I did that. Nobody compelled me to do this. And even if somebody came to tell me that I have to drink the water from the body of my husband, I would tell them, no, he didn't tell me that would happen if he leaves. So I had a way of, I was bold and brave. Some widows need to be brave to ascertain their rights as former wives and now widows.
Interesting. Now, from what I just saw now, your husband and you started this journey even before he died. And so one would want to ask, what inspired you to go into such a mission? Was it prior experience, or was it something that you just had a burden for widows generally, or somebody's experience just nudged you to, let's take care of these people? What really happened?
As a Christian, first of all, we read in the Bible that we should take care of the poor, the needy. We should take care of the fatherless, the motherless. And James 1:27, which is my own caption, says the purest religion is to visit the widows and the fatherless in their distress. And that is the pure religion that God accepts. So we got it into our heads. We read it in the Bible as Christians and we upholded it, and here we are. We're still doing it. You see, there must be an hunger for something. And we decided to do that. And we are still doing it as a family. My children and I, we are still there.
Wow. And I also see here that you have over 2,178
registered
widows.
In and out.
Wow.
While we read 2,000 something registered, some of them have gone to remarry. And we have lost some widows to death.
Wow.
So the numbers go down and increases.
Wow. So one would like to ask how you manage this large number of widows.
Well, discipline, plan, and the objective behind it, to counsel widows. To counsel, we don't need to spend money to counsel. We talk. We rub our hands. We don't need money there. And then when we need money, we shout out to people. And some Christians and non-Christians do come around to ask, what can we do for you? We have so many widows here. Every Tuesday we meet, third Saturday of every month. People bring in money. Some people celebrate their life events by donating to the organization. Some people say, I don't have money. Every month I'll give you 5,000. Every month I'll give you 10. Every month we'll give you 25 and things like that. We have a pause for that. I don't even run that. I'm just the person in charge, but I have other people who do that. We thank God for the support we have been having. The most regrettable thing about this is the government is not in support of this. If they support this, they don't support it the right way. I may be permitted to say that. I've been doing this for 20 years, registered with the Ministry of Women Affairs in Lagos State. They call me for events that they think I should be there. But when they are remembering how to support the underprivileged, Serendipity House is not called. I thank God for MTN. Fantastic. MTN is fantastic with the taking care of widows. They really empowered widows. They've done it very, very well, but they can do better.
Now, coming to the widows that you actually manage and counsel, you know, from those who come to you to get themselves registered, now how have you been able to help them manage some after ordeals they are faced with when they lose their husband? You know, some people's relatives could be very nice enough not to inflict all of those terrible acts, but some people have relatives or in-laws that would actually inflict some of this punishment. So how do you stand in the gap for these ones?
That is 90% of ordeals.
Wow.
Yeah. We have lawyers that we call, and then we have a team that would go out and meet the families. We go out to meet the families. The lawyers are on hand. They write letters for them. The mediation department, Ministry of Justice, public, what do you call them? Public service complaints and all that. They are very active on ground. And they don't charge widows money to do that. They don't charge widows money to do that. Most of the time it needs us to just be active and be by their side to really do this. Sometimes we can't go to the in-laws to fight because we are not related. But we can advise the widow, go to the Justice Ministry. They have lawyers there that they give free of charge. And then in Serendipity House, we have a core empowerment program where even before that happens to a widow, she knows what to do.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. How would one know that she's going to lose her husband?
Oh, okay. Well, the Bible, at the marriage ceremony, till death do us part. That is an information, pre-knowledge. Though we don't think about it until it happens. And a woman also may know that she's going to lose her husband if her husband had been living with a terminal disease. That could happen. Men who live reckless lives could lost their lives. Those are indications. So usually, I didn't know it. My own was a shock. We still had a cup of juice at 7:30,
and he wasn't sick.
Dead at 9:30. Oh no, my own was, it was a shock. But some people know a foreknowledge, a pre-knowledge that they're going to lose their husbands, and they could always plan for it. A woman who is nursing a man with terminal illness should be advised, which I do. I've put that in my program now. When I know that a woman is nursing a man that is sick, we go in and say, let's do something
to train you. Okay. Now, how would you say the society accepts a widow? Some widows don't go through some form of torture, but there is this way they are being seen. There is this way they are being addressed. So, do you also share that opinion that widows are sometimes looked down on in the Nigerian society?
Thank you. Every widow goes through torture. I am going through mine. Torture. I don't have a man in my life. For God's sake, it's torture. Okay? You want to call somebody at midnight, it's not there. It's a torture. The children start rebelling in the house, it's a torture. Apart from the outside torture, the home itself had its own. The children rebel. You go to open your fridge, there's something there. You open your wallet, you need 500 naira, you find 100. Wow, what do I do? And the society looks down on widows, like you said. She has lost her status, mind you. She used to have a man who held her hands. And maybe, probably, she used to be respected because her husband was holding her hands. And they are thinking, why should we respect if not for her husband? But the man is no more there, so they have liberty now to now treat her the way they want to treat her. Where they are calling Mr. and Mrs., she can't go there. A couples fellowship, for God's sake. I saw a woman, one of my widows on TV, they were doing a couples fellowship and she was there, she sat there. I had to call her after. What were you doing there? They said couples fellowship. Are you still a couple? You know, she went there to sit alone in the midst of people who were holding hands. That is, you know, she didn't want to handle the torture she was going through. She said, let me go there. But she was not recognized. So there are places you cannot go. Society doesn't like a woman that is single. But women are doing it now in the career, professional level. Don't downlook a single woman because she's doing very well in her career. So a widow too can do well in her life as a single woman. Yeah. There's no...
Okay. Now to the question of widowed now, you know, once they say someone is... when there's a state of widowhood, rather, you know, we have a widow and a widower. Now, some men also lose their wives, and so what's the experience you've had with men who lose their wives? Do they go through the same thing the woman goes through, or theirs is worse, or it's just a happy-go-lucky thing for them?
Okay, I'm not a widower. In my organization, I've registered 42 widowers.
Wow.
The executive director of MTN called me 2 years ago and said, oh, Lori, you have to form the widowers group too, because they are going through their own problems too. I said, what would people say if I do that? He said, no, you need to do that because it's your ministry, that's your calling, and you've been trained to counsel people living with grief and all that. And because of the 2 years ago, I started the widowers department, visiting widowers, trying to know what they are going through. More torture, more torture on the mind, depression. They love their wives too, very much, but you don't know how much. They miss their wives too, you don't know how much. But a widower can really, really, really be killed from the death of his wife. Because if he was so used to her, you now find a man who is behaving like a baby. He doesn't know where he put his slippers. He doesn't know how to mix the breakfast meal. He doesn't know what to wear to church, because the woman which actually will bring out her own national okay and say, Daddy, you are wearing that, this and that. The man is now misplaced, more misplaced than the woman. Women, God made women to be fantastic humans. Men are not fantastic, I'm sorry to say, because there are some things they can't handle by themselves. And then the widow told me that she would really want to go into a relationship, but people will misunderstand him and say, when did the wife die that he is going out with a woman? The world does that. And then they will tell a woman too, when did your husband die that you are going out with a man? The first time I went on a date, I wept on the dinner table. I said, what is going on here? This man here is a stranger. What is going on? You know, a woman who even went for a date with a man too has things in her head that we're not adding up, you know. But the world doesn't see that people who are in grief too need love. There's something in my newsletter review. Widows and widowers like to date each other. because they understand. It's an opinion. A widower may not understand a widow. A widow may not understand a widower. It's just an opinion, but those are the people that can really date, and then they can be free with each other. Because a widow is fine with a married man. Oh, they will stone you to death. But with a widower, nobody is going to carry guns. The two parties, nobody is going to arrest.
You're on the same page.
You're on the same page. But then they need to. The widower must analyze the family first. Must not jump into remarriage because your children may not want it.
Yeah.
You have to respect your children. And if your children say they don't like that woman, you shouldn't like her, because you're going to rock the boat. And the woman too, who would you marry? Is he going to be as good as your late husband? Comparing and things like that. I think we are all psychiatric patients who live in our homes, receiving treatments in our homes. But then as time goes on, we can get by.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right. Now, one thing you said while you started, something quite interesting, that human beings are the ones who met out this evil on their fellow human beings, because people, spirits don't torture.
No.
Human beings do. So I'd like to ask, why do you think these people who carry out this evil act against women who have lost their, why do you think they do what they do?
Okay, like I said, religion is something passed down from one person to the other. One elderly prophet started his own religion, and people believed in what he was preaching, and they continue to preach it. And offsprings, generations start following. So there are some people who sit somewhere and say, this is what we are going to do to any woman who loses a man in this family. This is what the rules we are going to give her that will guide her further existing. And women are the ones who are used to met out this. The women are the ones who will beat the woman the moment the husband dies. They are the ones who will prepare the shaving, the blade. They are the ones who will prepare the rag she will wear. They are the ones who will take the cup of poisoned water to her room. They are the ones who will say, that is how we do it. And then after that day, one of the women who did the shaving of another woman's head loses her husband at night. Women will do the same thing. So women have not really thought to sit down and ask, why are we doing this? I told a woman in my husband's family, I said, you better be careful. What I'm going through here now could happen to anybody following. I'm not going to say anything other than that. That if this thing could happen to me, it could be worse with you. You need to be careful. Women need to sit down and manage their lives, not interfering in what makes another woman weep. Tradition, culture, my foot. Government should come up with something that will make a woman continue to live well after the death of her. The pain of death is enough. And I hope that by this medium, the government will do something about it.
All right, thank you so very much. Very quickly, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll just like you to take us through how you have helped women and men who have lost their loved ones, how you've helped them have their lives back. It might not be so easy to have your life back, but it's possible to take up the pieces of your life and live again. And also, we'll be opening our phone lines for you to be a part of this discussion. If you have questions or someone you know is actually experiencing something this evil, feel free to call the number that will be showing just after this time out. Stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, treasure looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face.
Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I say to hell
On
with it.
Core Digest
I want to know why I should be believing them.
every weekday. We bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion,
Everybody has a right in Nigeria.
where you are the judge.
All right, we're still looking at the topic, widowhood in Nigeria, misconception, ordeals, and victory. Because of course we've had women and men who was decided to, look away beyond the troubles they're going through, and they're saying, I'm going to have my life back and I'm going to be so happy, even while I nurse the pain of one that I really loved so very much. And so back to the guests on the program. This is Yemisi Jayola, human rights activist. Now, you keep harping on the fact that government should be blamed for not actually taking serious attention to those who are widows and widowers. Why should they be blamed, really?
Not the government. First of all, if you care about your people, you should have a data. Like we have deaths recorded in hospitals. Let's find out how many women have lost their husbands this week in this community, and let's visit them, and let's find out what their problems are. And the church shouldn't stop at the end of the dust to dust. They should continue, because the Bible, as I read, has given the church the obligation to follow up on widows. The government and the church should really be involved, while not leaving out families of the deceased from continuing to love the woman as the man would have loved her. So those are important things. Government, the church, and the families should continue to love the woman. That's all they can do for, if they can't give her money.
All right. Okay, and now feel free to call the number showing on your screen if you have experience relating to this widowhood practice, or somebody who is actually going through some form of problems. Please let us know, and any contribution to this topic, would like to hear from you. Now, looking at the Constitution of Nigeria, we see that Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution actually makes provision for the rights of every single human being. There's a right to life, the right to dignity of human person, the right to inheritance, fair hearing, and the rest. And if one takes a look at the experience that most widows go through when they've lost their loved ones, most of these rights are being denied, especially the right to own a property. The issue of who inherits their husband's property comes to play. Yes. And so in managing widows over the years, how have we been able to succeed at attaining that each person that is under my care gets justice, even while the person has lost a loved one, rather?
Yes, it is about the inheritance that really brings misunderstanding. Because a widow is now asked, how do you think you can own that?
Okay, let me just cut you short. Let's take a call from Sunday. Sunday, good to have you join us. Please go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to appreciate God for that woman over there. And I want to appreciate God for her ministry. I've been listening to you people, and I've been much happy with what she's doing and what God is using her to do. I would like to encourage her to continue. Like her reward will be great in heaven.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Sunday, for that words of encouragement. What did you say?
Can I know her name?
Yes, her name is Yemisi Jayola. Yemisi.
And what's the name of her organization?
The name of our organization? Serendipity House. Serendipity
Right.
House, yes.
All right, I'll look it up in the net. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sunday.
Right.
All right, so go ahead about the issue of inheritance.
Inheritance is something that really makes a widow shake, run. If she runs, she will lose it. If she shakes, she's still there. I don't know why it has to be in the Bible. I'm always talking about the Bible because I'm a Christian. Please pardon me. Inheritance is an issue. Inheritance matters. Issues in the Bible. So it is issues here. If a widow doesn't have a proper standing, she will lose her inheritance. I am still living in my inheritance with my children because I have a proper standing. A widow who cannot explain where she is. What are you doing there? This is my house. Prove to me that it's your house. It's my house. My husband told me it's our house, my children's house, and she will stay there. But when she's now disturbed further on her property, she now has a right to visit the law enforcement agencies, who will now call the family and say, why don't you allow this woman to be? What do you want from her? Let's know what you want from her. But according to what we are saying, this woman and her children own this. So why don't you let her?
Let's take Ellen. Helen, good to have you join us. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning, my dear.
Good morning.
Yeah. I want to salute the madam in the studio.
Okay.
Madam, good morning, ma.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, she can hear you. Go ahead, Ellen.
Okay. Yeah, madam, I want to salute your courage. I
Thank you.
respect you.
Yeah.
I respect you
Thank
for
you.
the good job you're doing.
Thank you.
God will add more feathers to your cap.
Amen.
I pray that the God of heaven that has kept you so far will continue to sustain you and your children. That's a very good job you're doing. I pray that other people in your shoes should emulate your courage, the strength in you. When you are speaking here, I was encouraged. I pray other women should look up to you. You are a role model, madam. You're a role model. You are somebody to be looked up to. The women in your position should look up to you. The strength, the courage, your boldness and everything. I pray that God will continue to sustain you.
Amen.
And I pray that this good job you are doing, that God will reward you greatly.
Amen.
Concerning the Anambra issue, that practice, I think, is going down. The church is trying, madam. The church is bringing down these practices. It is not, as dangerous as it used to be. The church has waved in and nullifying all those evil practices. It is no more as it used to be in Anambra State. I'm from Anambra State. That's why I'm speaking from experience.
Okay.
Because we have seen so many of them. All those practices are not being made on them anymore. So there is really a relief for the widows. Thank you, madam. I respect
Thank you
ma'am.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ellen,
Thank you.
for that wonderful contribution.
Good to know.
All right, so you're saying that when the law enforcement agencies come in, there's always...
Usually there is a truce.
Okay.
A widow cannot fight it. If she thinks she can, she will fail. The law enforcement agencies will come to support her, not to come and fight for her. If they fight, the day they go, the woman is in soup. It's better we form a truce where she can continue to live
my
in
name
her
is
home. And if they want anything from the woman, they could ask her. And if the woman is not herself greedy, she could release something. As if the woman was here, he would want to do that too. So I think we should just live in peace and live in truth.
All right. Okay, and when the law enforcement agencies come, they are always very willing to help.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes. A family that is not a wicked family would say, okay, because they came to talk about it, I forgive you. There's a way, maybe the woman has even upset them before.
Okay.
And they want to
get back at her.
But if she knows how to play peace, she would inherit everything.
Now, so there is a need to play peace.
Oh, you need to play peace. I'm playing peace. Yes. Yeah, I'm playing peace.
So what happens when your relatives are your in-laws are very difficult people? Then you tell us how the best way to handle very difficult in-laws. So let's take this call. Good to have you join us. Go ahead quickly. Hello, Ifai.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Go ahead, please.
I want to congratulate you with the mother in it. What the woman is doing is very encouraging to people that have lost their husband or their wife.
Okay.
When I had this program, I was so amazing. I was so amazing. I wanted to congratulate her to keep on what doing in Nigeria, especially within the area village. So congratulations to them because what she's doing. So people, I thank you. I thank her very much to continue on that. God will give her wisdom and the knowledge to continue whatever she's doing, and helping her to help others and make her to live longer and see the fruit of children and the children's children. Mommy, congratulations. Thank you very much, mommy.
Thank you very much, Ifeanyi.
Okay, so dealing with very difficult in-laws, there are some that want to consider and say, let's just let her be. But some will even threaten to kill, to harm the children. How do you handle such
All
people?
these things have been before, and they are now, and they will always continue to be. What causes this is simply misunderstanding of each other. You misunderstand a woman, that's why you fight her. You misunderstand her feeling, that's why you say something about her every move. When she moves, you misunderstand. Whatever she says, you misinterpret. When she's feeling cold, you see it as if she's boiling. People don't really see the pain of the widow because they are not there yet. And we don't want to say that they should experience it because it's not a good thing to experience. It's not a party. It's not a lifestyle. Widowhood is not a profession that you study in the university. It is a situation, a coincidence, something that just happens. You find yourself in it. And there is no widow, mind you, whoever is outside there who thinks a woman is happy that she lost her husband. Even if at first she is happy that she lost her husband, I'm sure today she's weeping inside. Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody wants to pay school fees alone. Nobody wants to contribute food money alone. Nobody wants to go to a wedding alone. I'm going to one today. I'm going alone with my children. I was begging my son, get dressed. You are going with me. Nobody likes to do things alone. We are doing things alone. We are not happy. People who are fighting widows should please pause and please be calm with her. She's going through an eternal torture unless she remarries. Even when she remarries, the man is not going to be as good as her husband. Allow a woman to just move on. Move on. Moving on means changing the way she used to live. A happier life. If she wants to remarry, let's allow her. I wish I could. But let her move on. Whatever makes her happy should be allowed. Her husband is there in the grave. I take my children to the grave every Father's Day. It's a torture. That's where your father is. Don't be deceived that they say another father somewhere. But it's an experience we have, and we make it something good. We laugh at it now. He was a good man, and we want to remain seeing it like that. Let a widow move on. Support her to move on. If you don't support her to move on, she becomes a problem in your lives.
All right, interesting. And from even your publication, I see quite a number of women and some support materials, food items, just to assist her in taking care of her children. And so, while it's good to assist widow, there is a limit to what you can do. You can't help her for the rest of her life. So, what do you do to help her stand again and, she can just pick up from the pieces and just move on? What programs will you put in place? Just before you come in, let's just take this call. We have a caller. Hello, good morning. Good to have you join us. Yes, go ahead, please.
I like the conversations about marriage. And I'm happy to see this woman this morning. Always women are family and one thing for the families of their husband.
All right, thank you, Usman.
At times, women, while they're treating them bad, maybe it's something like having a husband is alive. She will happen to you will not like the people of her husband, and those people are putting that thing in their heart. When the man died, they will try to do her bad. They will do her in the wrong way like this so that it make her to be also, like the song, they having that wicked mind, they can also deal with them in that way. But as he was there, you should be linked, you should be tell people and the women that they know how to live in their life. That if their husband is not around, people should be there with them in a good way.
All right. Thank you very much, Usman, for that contribution.
Okay, so now helping the women to be independent, the men to be independent, especially, it was interesting when you said that the widower practically becomes a baby and, is looking for how to start. So how do you help them to be once again independent and live their lives happily?
First of all, you look in the eye of a widow. You are not a widow, so don't worry. Let's just make it dramatic.
Okay.
You are alone now. I wrote something about widow. Widow, W-I-D-O-W. The first W was your life was like that. What is the next letter? I. You are now independent. The other one called D. You are now determined to fail or succeed. So you are owner of your life. Then the last W. You are a winner. A widow shouldn't be seen as somebody who's lost everything. In my analysis, why I said the woman is a winner is because she's the one who survived the marriage. That makes her a winner. And then look at the L shape. Why you should think you are a winner is because of the L shape. There's somebody lying. Somebody is lying. Who is that? The man in the grave. And you are the one standing by the, so you are the winner. And how do you win eventually? By determining to live on. What we do is, first of all, counsel the widow. My dear, you need to tighten your seatbelt. If you were spending 20,000 before to support your husband's 80, you have to work for the 80 and make it 100. You have to love the children more where you couldn't have time for them before. Because if you mess up with the children, they'll tell you, who's this woman? What's this woman? The children will rebel. There was a time my son, this little woman. My son said, this little woman. Oh, mom, dad. They pitied me. At times they will frown at me. I will be afraid. We tell the woman to stand, to try to stand. When people expect you to weep, try to put up a smile. And the widower who doesn't know where to take the bread should go to the kitchen and start using his touch to find out about things. If he can be guided, good. If he can't be guided, he needs to find his way, his feet. Then the woman needs to work hard. Widows like to wear pitiful dresses. From my experience, they have dresses, nice dresses at home, but because you need help, you have to wear something dirty, raggy, so that they say, she needs clothes. I think we want to, serendipity how is saying no. We don't have begging widows. We want working widows. There's a project we have in September. Widows can work. So call us if you need people who want to, you need to clean, wash, cook. Widows can work. So we have that project. Widows should work. Then pay attention to the children. They are the people you have who will love you first before others. And then we teach them the word of God. We teach them how to pray. If you don't know how to pray to God, no man wants to listen to your prayer. And so this last event, we launched Widows Empowerment Prayer Charter, which you put by your bed and pray every day. And the widow too should pray for helpers to come our way. If you don't pray for helpers, they won't come your way. And then you need to pray again. I mentioned pray. You need to ask God to guide you, to bless you, to make your work succeed, to make your children, because if you don't work on the children, they are the ones who will work eventually and start feeding you. You need to work on the children. You need to really, really work. Not to be looking all the time where they are sharing derica of rice, tomato, kinekon, and you are always there. Then you have a problem.
Very good. All right, we'll be rounding up this segment now. It's been wonderful speaking with you on this subject, widowhood in Nigeria, misconceptions. Ordeals, and we're so glad that widows and widowers actually experience victory even in their experience. So final words from you before we let you go.
Well, the final word is love God, love your family, and do things that make you happy. That's all.
Thank you so very much, Yemisi Jayola, human rights activist. And so I hope you learned quite a number from her. The W says was, that was your past. The I means independent. The O, D means determined. The O means owner of your life, and the W means winner. So keep being a winner, and keep living happy, because you just only one chance to life. And so whatever it is you decide to make of it becomes that thing that you actually experience. So it's not impossible to stay happy even while you lost a loved one. Well, Call Digest Extra is not over yet, because we still have another segment where we bring in two people doing so well in the entertainment industry. Do stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell
on
with it.
Call Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge.